Most gardeners are feeding their plants and starving their soil at the same time. That's the mistake. They focus on what they can add, but ignore how quickly their soil is losing nutrients, structure, and biological activity underneath. And when that happens, yields drop. Plants become weak, roots stay shallow, and no matter how much fertilizer you add, it never seems to fix the problem long term. I learned this the hard way working across different setups, raised beds, containers, even controlled hydro systems. The issue wasn't input, it was condition. That's why I stopped guessing and started measuring. I use a simple 4-in-1 soil meter that checks moisture, pH, temperature, and light. Because here's the reality, if your soil conditions are off, even the best amendments won't work properly. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out. It solves a simple problem most gardeners overlook, knowing when your soil is actually ready to respond. Now, once that's in place, these so-called British soil methods start making a lot more sense. They're not magic, they're built around understanding soil biology and long-term fertility. And the first one is something most people walk past every day without realizing its value. Now, here's a method that directly affects worm activity. Kitchen scrap trenching. Instead of composting everything separately, I dig shallow trenches in my beds and bury kitchen scraps in controlled sections. This creates localized feeding zones for worms. Within days, worm activity increases in those areas, and over time, the entire bed benefits from improved aeration and nutrient cycling. But here's the key detail. Depth matters. Too shallow, and you attract pests. Too deep, and decomposition slows down. I aim for about 4 to 6 inches below the surface. Now let's talk about something that changes how soil holds nutrients long-term. Biochar. But not raw biochar. Uncharged biochar can actually absorb nutrients from your soil temporarily. What I do instead is soak it in compost tea or manure solution before adding it. Once charged, it acts like a long-term storage system for nutrients and microbes. In sandy soils, it improves water retention. In heavy soils, it improves aeration. It's not immediate, but over time, it becomes one of the most valuable additions you can make. Now here's an overlooked technique that directly stabilizes your soil system. Mulching, but done as a biological layer. Not just covering the soil, but feeding it from the top down. I use organic materials like straw, leaves, or shredded cardboard, sometimes pre-treated with diluted compost tea. This keeps soil temperature stable, reduces evaporation, and creates a steady supply of organic matter. In one of my container setups, mulching reduced watering frequency significantly while improving plant health at the same time, and this leads directly into the final piece of the system. Worm castings. This is where everything comes together. Worm castings are not just fertilizer, they're biologically active material that enhances everything else you've added. I use them as a top dress, especially in containers and high-demand crops. Even a thin layer can improve plant response noticeably. What you'll see isn't just faster growth, it's more stable growth. Plants handle stress better, recover faster, and produce more consistently. At this point, the pattern should be clear. None of these methods work in isolation as well as they do together. This is not about adding random amendments. It's about building a system where structure, biology, and nutrients all support each other. So if your harvests haven't been where you want them to be, don't just add more fertilizer. Check your conditions, build your soil structure, activate your microbial life. Because once your soil is working properly, everything changes. Growth becomes easier, yields increase, and your garden starts sustaining itself. If you want more practical, experience-based methods like this, subscribe to the channel. This is where we focus on what actually works in real growing conditions. And share this with someone who's struggling with poor yields. Most of the time, the solution isn't more input, it's better understanding.